Folks, big news. Big news. Um, so this is an emergency broadcast. Yesterday, April 2nd, at approximately 3 p.m., Nora posted a chapter on Tumblr. And then today at 4:20 p.m., she posted that TSC would be the Sunshine Court, the AFTG sequel, would be out digitally on April 13th. I literally turned on post notifications about like a week ago because I knew from other Tumblr posts that it would be out in April. So I was like, I need to know. But she did post a chapter yesterday. It's not a chapter from the Sunshine Court, but it's kind of like an exposition chapter. So I recommend you go read it. But basically, it's an exposition chapter that's just reminding us where we are at the start of the Sunshine Court. If you don't know already, I hope everybody's up on the news. But if you don't know already, there is going to be a sequel to All for the Game that's going to be about Jean, and it's going to be from John's perspective. It might be dual perspective. We don't know for sure that yet, I don't think. But it is about Jean after Renee saves him from the ravens. So this chapter that Nora posted yesterday is about Renee's POV going to get Jean during spring break of 2007. So just as a reminder, and I didn't reread the books. I just went back to my own video notes for the third video, and it's an expository chapter. So this is just after Neil's dad dies, and the thing with the feds and etc., and also Kengo dies, the leader of the Moriyama Yakuza in the United States. The chapter, I don't really feel that it gave us a lot that we couldn't have already assumed. It's pretty much just straightforwardly Renee going to get Jean. It does kind of give us a nice insight into Renee's character and her relationship with her mom, and it's also a good example of the classic Fox's mindset of just brute force and making insane decisions. So it's nice. You can go read the chapter yourself. It's on Nora's Tumblr. I will post a link to it in the description. But what I want to talk about is Nora's next post after that. Now, we know Nora loves drama and she loves to be messy, as we know from All for the Game. But I'm wondering what the motivations behind are, the suffering that I guess I perceive we'll have to go through in this book. Because obviously John has some underworld mafia, mob, Yakuza connections from France or something. Otherwise he wouldn't have been tied to the Ravens. But with Kengo dead and the power shifts that occurred there, I'm wondering whether someone is after him in the same way Neil was running from his past. But also, Neil does negotiate protection for himself, Kevin, and John with Ichiro in book 3. So I don't think that's extremely likely to be the case. And then this book also starts before Rico is dead. So potentially we could see some psychological torture from in the form of messages and etc. coming from the Ravens and / Rico. But Rico does die pretty quickly after this book starts, which thanks Nora that we get to live Rico's death again. Rico really doesn't have as much control over them if Ichiro's promised them protection. So I don't really see, I guess that could be a part of it, but I don't really see that being the whole thing. Now, Neil's story obviously was like emotionally difficult because Neil was recovering from trauma of his past, still like actively on the run, and because the Foxes themselves as a team were such like a wild element, with many characters on the Foxes, like especially Andrew, obviously also recovering from trauma, and that made like the love story between Andrew and Neil really intense and like difficult because it made us suffer. It made us suffer because we wanted them to be together, but it took so long for them to like actually be ready to be together. So that was like the main conflict in I think all for the game, but or the main I guess like love story conflict. But I could see John's story having like a similar trajectory because it starts like around the same time like of year that Neil's story starts. Like Neil's story, first book is like kind of summer and then the first semester, and then the second book is like winter, and then the third book is spring. So I could see like we are getting three books, so I could see that like this could be like for Jean a similar thing, being like following an arc of being 1 year in John's life. However, the USC team, which we know that John ends up on, and we know from Nora, and it will be in this book, like it's going to be a focus in this book. Although she said it's like not really a book about the Trojans, which makes sense to me because of them being presented to us in All for the Game as a very like wholesome team who wins like the Spirit Award every year because of how nice they are. That they just like have such sportsmanship and like a good team culture that I'm wondering how the Trojans as a group in contrast, like they're so different from the Foxes, like how they're gonna generate like drama and like suffering for us around Jean. I see them as being like a wholesome place, like a nurturing place for Jean to get over his trauma. So like I'm worried about what Nora means by we're not supposed to survive the Sunshine Court. Maybe we won't survive this book purely because like John has suffered so much and needs to overcome that. Or maybe Nora is gonna pull something out of left field to affect John's life that we like after he's been saved that's gonna break us. The paragraph on Storygraph for the book seems to apply. It's mostly going to be about John coming back from his trauma, which I'll be happy about if like ultimately he does end up in a good place. Like I'm willing to suffer if I can be happy at the end. Um, and maybe that's the reason we're not going to survive this book is because it's a 3 book series and I'll have to wait till the third book to actually be happy. Who knows? Um, I guess all I'm hoping for in the Sunshine Court is like a little bit of wholesome. Like I really want Jared John to be a thing, and I really hope for some wholesome content there. Let me know what you think we'll see in TSC and what you're hoping for. As soon as it comes out, April 13th, I will come back. Maybe I'll do a live react to it, or maybe I'll just like record my reactions. I don't know if you want to brush up on like where this is in the story. You can watch my video about book 3. And thank you for watching, and I look forward to April 13th when TSC will be out.